Hello. I'd like to welcome Ben Aylon to Clif Chats. Um, Ben is a Israeli-born percussionist, or I believe born. We'll talk about where he's from. Uh, and Ben does a hybrid drum style. He's studied a lot of West African rhythms and have studied with some of the greats. And I look forward to talking with him about what he does. He also plays ngoni, and he bases. I myself want to learn more about the sabar drums and the music that how he combines music and that sort of thing. And my name is Clifford Kaufman, and I'm a percussionist in Nashville, Tennessee. Ben, whenever you're ready, if you wanna join in.
All right.
Hey, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, where are you right now?
I'm in a city called Herzliya, just near Tel Aviv.
Near Tel Aviv. Okay, that's a nice looking space you have there.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome. So I know of you from from your online presence and have really enjoyed what I've seen as a percussionist as well who's been studying West African music for a long time. I love to see how you're taking it and doing something creative, not just imitating. But I was wondering, when did you first hear African music, and what was your response?
All right. So actually, until even during high school, but just a little bit after I finished high school, a good friend of mine came and said, "Hey, let's try." There's a teacher whose name is Sabula Bangura. He's from Guinea Conakry, and he lives here in Israel. And this friend told me, let's try and study with him. Because till then I was playing only jazz drums, drum kits.
Like trap set, like drum set?
Yeah, drum set, jazz, a little bit of rock stuff. And yeah, so until then, I haven't touched a drum with my hands, actually.
Okay.
And that was the turning point, because when first touching with my hands, feeling the drum skins and heads, that made a difference. So that was the first experience with West African drumming. Yeah.
How long ago was that about?
So Sabula comes from Guinea Conakry, and he has his own rhythms and traditional music that he learned where he comes from, and he has his own way, his own take on that as well. But we just studied with him, and then we traveled with him to the Gambia in West Africa twice, in 2007 and 2008. So that was more like a djembe and dundum stuff.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed and still is a big influence, but I never felt connected to that style of drumming, actually. And the story goes that in 2008, after being there for at least, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the immigration police came and asked for our passports. And there was a problem there with the visas that we didn't notice before. When we entered the country, we came from Senegal. We landed in Senegal, took a car, 8 hours drive, crazy drive to the border of the Gambia, and we crossed in, and we were there for a month and a half, and they wrote the visa for only 2 weeks or something like that. So it caught us with surprise, and we ended up in jail for 4 days, actually.
Oh, wow.
And after that, luckily, we got deported. And when we got deported, they deported us to Senegal. So I had some time there. After that, with a group of students and friends, we went all together, and we had some time there. So I came. That was the first time really encountering Senegalese drumming up front. Yeah, so that story, that was tough. That was a tough experience.
Yeah.
Ended up with what I'm doing today. So that's my main inspiration for drumming, and I'm happy that happened in a way.
Yeah. So before you went to the Gambia in 2007, how long had you been studying with your teacher
I think for probably 2 years or something like that.
Okay, so you were already really into the learning and were ready to immerse yourself in the culture.
Yeah, but you know, I always had some problems with the sound, like getting the slap and tone and stuff. I didn't feel that was my shit. You know,
Yeah,
I felt like
naturally.
I felt like it cannot be. I have to put so much energy and thought into this. That didn't feel natural. And playing Senegalese drumming, which you play with a branch of a lemon tree actually, and one hand, that's a different technique. You still have to play some slaps and tones, but it's something. It's more about the way you talk with a stick than getting the right slap tone, and that was a big relief for me. And then I found myself much more like playing that stuff.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about sound. You know, I can relate a lot to what you're saying because I am also originally a drum set player, and it wasn't until later in college that I started to be interested in learn about West African drumming, and the sound on the djembe has been a constant process, and it's been really challenging. I mean, it's something that I love the process, but it's something that, you know, yeah, I've found it to be probably the hardest part for me is the clarity of sound, to have, you know, your right and left hand having the same tone and slap, and the clarity of your tone and slap. So anyway, so I can really relate to that. So you were playing drum set before. So do you think part of it was also that you had a form of a stick, you know, the lemon tree branch?
Yeah, I think, well, playing just with your hands or playing with the hand and a stick has a big difference in the way you can pronounce different, let's say, I don't know what to call it in English. Like, it's the phrasing actually is more complex. And when you see them play like a whole tribe of drummers, then you don't hear the little nuances. But when you see just your teacher, like my teacher, Ndiaye, I sat with him every day at the beach and studied with him for hours. And I looked at his hands, and that was like magic. That there's some magic happening there with the stick that it's hard to explain. You have to see that. And you don't really hear it when you hear it in mass drumming, only when you see one playing. So that was pretty amazing to witness actually, and that changed the way I thought about West African drumming. But I must add that my teacher from here, Sabula, who is from Guinea-Conakry, and he came here, he's already like 20 years in Israel. He's a different guy. I mean, he's not into the tone and slap, but more into the musicality of your playing. So he can play that, but he's more, I remember like when he first taught us, then his wife, Rachel, he was very shy, and he's a master drummer, and he was very shy, was sitting there in like she was teaching us, and he was there just playing the dunes. And I remember every hit with the dune he gave, that was like an earthquake. So I learned about intensity and how you can achieve or like produce such energy just from one hit, that you have a lot of intention with it. So that was a big lesson with him, and he's into the playing the music and not just having the right tone or slap. And when I found out, let's say, about music from northern Mali, more on the Sahara Desert, so you have all the Tinariwen and all these bands with the blues guitar, desert blues and stuff. So they play a djembe very loose, very, very loose. So I realized it doesn't have to be only like that. And my drums are tuned very low, actually, because I prefer low frequencies.
Yeah.
They have more tone, and all my drum set. If you watch my videos and you don't put your headphones and you just watch it with your iPhone, you don't hear the tones, because it's not like a high pitched drum set like African drum set. It's more like a low pitched one. So it's all about the bass. And once I realized that, I decided not to approach technique in a way of getting it how it should be in a specific style of djembe, let's say. So that was a big relief, and then I could be quiet and do my thing.
So it sounds like pretty early on you decided you wanted to take what you've learned and then do your own thing with it.
Yeah, I think it came naturally before even playing sabar, which is the Senegalese style. I remember taking 2 dunes with my feet and 1 djembe and trying to play parts. Just, I don't know, that was natural for me to try it. It was not easy, but yeah. So a lot of people ask me about the coordination, and maybe we can talk about it later, but there's nothing, I don't have a unique gift. Or like I just practice a lot, and a
lot of work.
I must say that when you do something that has a traditional, let's say, how do I explain it? Like, it's happening naturally in music, because you can play coordination, like think about this and that and play together. So it's not a natural concept. But when you play something that is natural and there's a proof, like a natural proof for you,
logic to it.
There's a natural traditional logic to it, then it's much easier to play it. With coordination. So it has sense, and then it's easier. This is what I found out about coordination. So it started with the dune and the djembe, and then after studying the Senegalese stuff, that I started doing that with that style as well. So
yeah. So before you started playing any West African music, you played drum set. Did you play other instruments as well before that?
Ooh. Piano.
You play some piano. So what is your first experience where music moved you? If you remember it, or were you really moved to music?
I think I have a cousin in Miami, Florida. I'm half Argentinian, so the Argentinian part, they live in Argentina, and my mother's sister, she moved to Florida, and we were there every year, summer vacation, and his name is Martin. And I remember that he was a drummer. So that was maybe the first time for me to see. I was very young, and I saw him playing the drums, and I think that was like some of my motivation to play. But I don't remember like music as a meteor. You know, like
there wasn't one moment. It's like no, because I remember being pretty young, like 6 years old, and hearing Beethoven and hearing all the parts and just it blowing my mind. Like, how could someone think of all that? And just kind of like, I can't think of that. But so was piano or drum set first?
I don't remember. I think that was the same teacher, by the way.
Oh, you did drum set and piano with the same teacher?
I think so. That was maybe drums first and then some piano, but that piano wasn't that a big part, you know. At some point in high school, I realized I have like this ability of reading some notes and pieces, sheet music, and just studying some stuff. So I went like Chopin and some Brazilian stuff I was playing. So I just did that for a while, but today I don't remember anything, so I can't play. I can find myself, you know, in it, but not really play.
Well, I'm just curious about how you know, your past influence now. So did you play in like the high school jazz ensemble, playing rock band? Playing drums?
Yeah, something like that. More jazz. Once in high school. Well, my teacher, my most important teacher here, his name is Nir Nakav. He's the drummer for Salem. Salem is a heavy metal rock band, very well known even outside, but more like old school stuff.
Okay.
And I remember playing some double bass, just experimenting, not like playing it with bands, but experimenting with all that. And he showed me everything I know today, like how to notate, how to read, how to all the rudiments and stuff. But also he managed to focus me on African drumming at some point. Although he doesn't play that, he knew how to make me approach it better. And he showed me what really influenced me today to play what I play. That's Doudou Ndiaye, who is the greatest Senegalese, maybe West African drummer of all times, if you ask me, and others. And he showed me the video, Neil showed me the video of Doudou for the first time after I came back from Senegal from that incident. And that was a turning point. There, I remember that when seeing the video, watching the video of Doudou, that was like mind-blowing. And my life literally changed from that moment, because I had like a big dream of studying with that family and with Doudou, and that happened. So,
so when you were in Senegal the first time after being thrown in jail, you found the music, but it wasn't the Nrose family. And I'm sorry, tell me to pronounce his name again, please.
The drummer, Doudou.
Doudou, yeah, and last
Doudou
name.
Ndiaye Rose, actually.
Ndiaye Rose. Okay.
Yeah, Doudou Ndiaye Rose.
Okay.
And so, yeah, what happened is that after my teacher Nir showed me the video of Doudou, I said, okay, I have to study with this family. And back then, Facebook was not that advanced here, at least. And I found the email of one of his eldest son's wife in the Netherlands. So okay, a little bit about Doudou. Doudou he already passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
On my birthday, by the way. And and
which is coming up, right?
Sorry?
Which your birthday is coming up?
Yeah, in a week. So I remember searching for ways to study with a family and searching for emails. And I found out that most of his sons, which he has like around 50 children, they are spread around the world. So Japan, USA, all around. So I found the email of his wife. Now, a little bit more about Doudou. He composed the national anthem of Senegal, and he was a very big, he had a big influence also politically. And he was a very important guy in Senegal. So I found the email of one of his son's wife in the Netherlands, Ali. His name is Ali Ndiaye Rose, and I met with him in Senegal, January 2010. And that was a crucial, most important time for me, because I was very focused on learning that. And I had a month and a half, every day, a lesson for 4 hours at the beach, with two of his sons. So they accompanied us, and because he lives in the Netherlands and he teaches a lot of Westerns, he knew how to teach me. Although I'm into just imitating, just he plays and then I play, but that was easier because he understood that I was looking for bars and where's the one and stuff like that. He already knows that this is Western concept. So that was easy for me, and I was lucky to have him as a teacher. He's an amazing teacher. And that 1 month and a half of every day a lesson, and then afternoon I was just transcribing.
So you bring a recorder and you'd listen back to the recordings from the lessons?
It's recordings, videos, and then I have a little book of all the rhythms, all the parts of all the drums. So although it's endless, because Senegalese drumming is more about the compositions than the basic rhythms. So you have like 5, 6 basic rhythms that it's not like, you can travel in West Africa and have like dozens of rhythms, but in Senegal, it's not about the amount of rhythms, but what you compose on top of it. So each family, it's like phrases. Each rhythmic or musical phrase is phrase. It's called bak in Senegal. And so composition is built from these phrases, and the soloist moves you from each one. He decides when you play each one of the phrases. So that's the way Senegalese drumming works. So you have the basic rhythm, and on top you have the composition. So each family there of drummers, and it's like it's like in India, it's a caste. So you have castes of musicians, and it goes by family. You know, you are born to that, and each family has its own style of compositions, actually. So you have the drummers who play with the pop musicians. Then you have the drummers who play, the family of drummers who play more the artistic style, this is the family I studied with, the Ndiaye. So I just learned all the style of that family, and this is what I know how to play today. So that's interesting that I specifically play that style.
Yeah. Is it true that Doudou and Ndiaye Rose had more than 500 creations or rhythms?
Okay, a good question. This is what they say, and he's considered to be a human treasure of UNESCO. I think it has to be something with that. He also formed a female drummer ensemble, which was very rare back then. And regarding his 500 rhythms, that's 500 compositions. That's exactly the thing. When all people say rhythms, that says that, like phrases or and it's endless, you know. But
and so I'm not that familiar with Sabar drumming. Besides, there's a family in Seattle. I used to live in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. The Diop family. I used to see them play some at festivals in Seattle. But besides that, I'm not that familiar. So could you just share a little bit about Sabar drumming and about the different drums, what their names are, what their roles are?
Sure. So you have I can't really show it here now, but well, basically you have 2 accompanying drums, or 3. So one of them is called mbalach or mbeng beng, which is just a basic rhythm that is played on that drum, and it's called mbalach. And mbalach is also the pop style of Senegal. Pop music is called mbalach as well, because they use that rhythm inside. So all the up-to-date music, modern music, is played with traditional drums also. So that's really beautiful. So that there's one drum. Then the second one is chol, which is a very interesting drum. I can maybe show it. I have it here. So 1 second.
And so Ben is just going to get one of the Sabar drums. I think he said chol. I'm not sure if. Say the name again, please. Can you say the name again?
So the name is chol.
Chol.
Okay, now you can see it here. What's interesting about it is that you see it's closed in the bottom, and it's very, very heavy. And 1 second. He has like the tone is very special. I mean, because it's closed from the bottom, it has a very special tone. Now, when you tune it low, it's called chol, and when you tune it high, it's called talmbat. So it's the same drum, different tuning, different names, and different function inside the rhythm. And so these are the basics. You have one more. I don't remember the name. It's like a mbalach, but shorter. It's not a must, but you can add it as well. And then on top of that, it doesn't matter. They play all sorts of drums, but they play one composition altogether. It's very massive sounding. It could be dozens of drummers. And you have the soloist who's playing the nder, N-D-E-R, nder. Nder is the soloist drum. It's higher and very loud. Now, Doudou Ndiaye, that's something I usually don't talk about, and I realized it last time I was there. Doudou Ndiaye invented a drum that I don't know its name, but it's a mix of the chol, which is closed from the bottom, and it is tuned like the soloist drum. So it's very tight. It's not like the chol, which is low tuned. It's very, very tight, but it's closed from underneath. So it has like it cuts everything. It's very loud. So that's like his invention, actually.
Okay.
I don't have.
So the accompanying drums, do they they play an ostinato that interlocks with the other parts. Do they vary at all? Are there any calls for them to vary, or do they stay static the whole time, and then the
Okay,
lead?
it's a great question, because I think in general in I don't know how, I don't like to say African music, but I know in West Africa at least, I guess it's everywhere there, or in traditional music in general, there's an evolution in rhythm, meaning evolution of which depends on the speed of the playing. So when you play slow, the part sounds like one thing, but then when gradually you take the rhythm up, which doesn't happen in Western music, we don't change it. If we change the tempo, usually it's just a change. But in West African music, in African music, traditional music, all over, it's about intensity and energy. So
The heating up or échauffement, right?
Exactly, it's heating up and then it gets faster. And what happens there is that the parts change according to the speed, and then you just miss. You take out some hits, and because you cannot play all the details while it goes up in tempo, and then something really interesting happens. It's not only that the part change and evolve, it's also the feel of the grid. It can be triplets, and then it becomes 16ths, and then it becomes again triplets, and pretty crazy. In Senegalese music, it's really noticeable. And so when you learn a specific drum part, you learn it in different tempos because it changes. And then when they play with you, and when you study there, it's always happening. So you gotta be focused and get it right. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So the coordination and what you've done with what you've learned. Please talk about that.
Okay, first of all, why did I do it? Yes. Nobody here plays Senegalese drumming. Nobody. I mean, I have one friend who was there with me, but he's not focusing on that. And I don't know, it just felt natural to me again I did the same with dune drums and the djembe. I don't know, I just sat alone. I'm a soloist in general. I mean, I like being alone a lot of my time, and you know, creating, drumming, reading. I don't know. So that felt natural to me to just research that and see where can I go. And coordination always was something I was interested in, but again, it's not a gift that I have. A lot of people ask me that. It's about making sense when you play stuff with coordination. Just inventing two ostinatos and they don't have any logic in it. So it's just about maybe calculating and stuff. But I always try to play things that have traditional proof and that they work together. And then it's easier to play, because coordination, what I found about it is that it's a ability of hearing. It's not a mechanical thing. It's not a technical thing. It's if you hear it or not. It's like hearing chords, you know. If you can hear the chord before you play it, if you can hear the melody before you play the melody, that's the same. If you can hear both, not only two parts, maybe more than 2 or 3 or 4 parts, if you can somehow imagine that, it's easier to play. So that said, I was just searching for ways to play 2 or 3 or 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts myself. And that was a long journey. I mean, it took a few years to it's like I had this natural path. I don't know. I knew what to do.
Did you have a goal at that point? Did you have anything you wanted, particularly that you wanted to do with that once you got that together?
Well, 2 things. First, Senegalese music is massive. Like more than other countries there around. I mean, a lot of drums is always massive, but Senegalese, they can play 40, 50 drummers, and they play the same thing, and it's so powerful. So I think naturally that was something that I wanted to imitate, the sound. So how can I create this massive sounding thing by playing a lot of drums simultaneously. And when playing the different rhythms, I was just searching for ways to do that. So I realized that, and I show that in my master classes when I teach. I play like half an hour and then I show how I do it. And there's a logic behind it. And after I show that, people understand. And then the next rhythm I play, they suddenly understand what I'm doing. So I'll try to explain. It's more like, instead of just playing simultaneously few parts, what I'm doing is I'm taking the essence of each part and I drop off what's not important about it. And then you hear a little bit of everything and it forms into one big thing. So that's the way I think about the layering. It's not about playing all the layers as they should, but I do know each layer traditionally how it's played on the drum. So
yeah,
that helps, of course.
Yeah, I think that's a big difference between just doing,
That's the whole point of it. So eventually when I play it, even when Senegalese people, they listen to it, they are convinced.
They recognize it.
They immediately, and it goes straight to their hearts. And I've seen that when I was there playing my solo tour in January 2020. I was more than, I was very excited to see that.
And I'll bet they really appreciate that you respect that you put the work in to really learn the parts to then do it that way and then to share it.
Yeah, because first of all, I do it differently. They don't play like that there, like a drum set. So they see their tradition being somehow evolving, and they don't care that I'm a white guy. Some, they always have the haters, like 2%, but most of the people liked it, and I got really great responses. And I see that for me, it was very important to get their word, to get their approval for that. So they understand I studied it traditionally, and then I did something new with it. So for me, just to play, we talked about a little bit in the beginning, just to play how it should be, I think that's not smart, because you will always have better drummers in Senegal playing traditionally, and that's
who grew up in that tradition.
Yeah, we shouldn't imitate that, because it's okay for a while. You should do that if you want to learn. But I believe in the evolution of music, and every traditional music once was modern music. At some point.
Somebody created it, or some people created that at some point.
And we think about it as traditional just because a lot of time passed. And once, but you can think of like drumming in Senegal. Why they use a stick? Because it's louder. And why? Because they had to pass messages from village to village with a drum. They actually speak. They have a language with words that you can pass a specific message with it. They showed me that. It's pretty crazy. The young guys there, they don't do it anymore. They don't know that language. But when they did that, so think about it as a form of communication. And then this punk came and started playing that for dance. Now for us, it looks normal. But back in the day, let's say a few hundred years back, that was a modern take on communication. And so today that seems tradition. Back in the day, it was modern and forbidden, maybe. So we have to understand that music is always evolving. And when we deal with traditional music, which is a very difficult, I had an interview with a bunch of ethnomusicologists a few weeks ago, and we talked about that. What is traditional? When does it become traditional? Who decides it's traditional? So music is always and was always meant to be evolving and to be challenged. So I think that's what I'm doing with their style of drumming, and today I feel comfortable about it. I remember years of not being sure if what I'm doing is respectful or not. But after being there and getting the approval of Doudou and Ndiaye, and he also recorded in my latest album, and getting the responses from the people in the streets, being there on national TV stations and stuff like that, that was a big approval, and I'm happy I did it. So yeah, that's a long journey there.
So I'd like to play a clip, if you're good with it, a video clip so people can see what it is you do. Do you have a favorite one that you have on your YouTube page?
YouTube. I'm funny because all my best videos are on Facebook, but some of them, let's see. Yeah, if you go to my face, you know what? Maybe I'll send you a link. That would be faster.
I can go to your Facebook page too. I'm there now. So there's one. Let's see. Yeah, or feel free to send it as well.
I'll send it. Let's see, because there it is.
Okay, so just so people tuning in can check it out. Also, you can go to find Ben. And please pronounce your name. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
It's okay. I mean, it's Aylon.
Aylon. Okay.
Aylon in Hebrew, but it doesn't matter. Aylon is fine.
Aylon. Okay.
I have some friends here with family names that Americans are having trouble pronouncing. So mine is easy, actually.
So tell me if you can hear this. Can you hear that? Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna bring it over here and let's see if you can see it as well.
Let's see.
Okay. Just a second. Can you see it?
Yeah. That was a crazy moment there.
Yeah, that's really cool. Let's see. Let me move this back. So it was cool to see the dancing as well, and I could see your eyes were glued to the dancer.
Yeah, that's actually that scene was special because that was in the Israeli ambassador's residency. As a finishing show for my tour there, they helped me a lot in getting a lot of contacts and transporting my drums, which I bought there just for the tour, and I had to bring all my pedals and stuff. But that event was really special because a lot of ambassadors from the area who live in the same area came, and the media and stuff like that. And actually, that dancer is not Senegalese. He didn't dance Senegalese traditional dance there. So that was something pretty surprising for me to see him dance something else. I didn't know exactly what he was doing, but it doesn't matter because it works. But that was a crazy moment there. Yeah, and always high energy and
yeah, and that tour looked like it was special in a lot of ways, and you did a great job of documenting it.
Yeah.
So I would love to get into some process of creative process and also kind of like what you are setting out to do with what you do, and also you have an album that just came out and you play Ngoni and you write melodies, and you've also, it sounds like, studied Ngoni and But anyway, so, and I know also you have like sound packs that people can purchase. You
Yeah.
teach, you play, you write, you do a lot of work, do a lot of different things. And I'm just curious about your process. Like what does your typical day look like?
First of all, nowadays I'm relaxing a little bit because that was an intense year and a half. Although COVID kicked in, actually I just came back from Senegal and COVID started. So
You were able to go right before. That was good timing.
yeah, that was good. And when coming back, I realized, okay, so no shows, and that was okay for me to not tour. I have a band with a partner, Yossi Fine, and we're called Blue Desert. That's a style of music that we do, and we toured a lot. So it was nice to not tour and focus on some stuff that I wanted to do before and didn't have the time, like creating these sample packs of a lot of people contacting me if they can use the sound of this video and this phrase from that. And I said, wait, I just prepared these sample packs, and you can find it on my website and Lander, which is a big website for AI mastering and samples as well. So I had some time to do that, and also to this I will show because it's an important thing for me.
Okay.
So you asked about what is a typical day. So for me, it was just like getting some stuff done that I wanted to do for a long time and finally having the time. So that was the sample packs, and also the shake hat,
which is
a percussion instrument that I created actually for my own needs, because you can see that on each of my videos that it's there. I'm playing it, and again, when I don't teach one-on-one. Actually, I don't do that much, because usually when people come for that, they don't come back after one lesson. I don't know why, but I prefer to do master classes.
What's that?
Sorry, what did you say?
I said maybe it's just overwhelming for them.
No, I tell you why. Because I studied with this guy Efrain Toro. I don't know if you know that guy, but
I know that name, but I don't. Yeah.
He's an educator, and he's more about rhythm than music, and he teaches how to approach and rhythm as a concept that is prior to music, and pretty crazy stuff. But somehow, I mean, that's the truth behind everything. That's a big rhythm philosophy, which I think is the best thing someone can actually learn before he even plays. Doesn't matter if you're a drummer or a musician, whatever. And I show that to my students first, and it's heavy, but it's possible even if you are not familiar with drumming.
Would you describe it a little bit? What does the rhythm philosophy mean?
Wow, look, it's I just recommend
you have to do it, but
I just recommend watching everything you can of Efrain Toro.
Okay.
Yeah, Efrain Toro, EFRAIN TORO. Everything you can find on YouTube. I mean, that's some crazy stuff. And again, it's how to perceive rhythm as a base to everything. He's talking about the harmonic. It's hard for me to explain this stuff in English, actually. Although I can speak fluently, but that stuff is more complex for me. But I'm just check it out, because I think that's a life-changing information right there. So I usually, when I teach one-on-one, I show that, and for some people maybe it's too much, but I believe that's more important than anything else. And conceptually, it's simple, but it's hard to understand. And so I prefer to have master classes. So you're asking me about my day. How does it look? It's for me, it's how to make what I do my main thing. So I don't have to teach things I don't want to teach. I don't have to play things I don't want to play. So creating a world around that. So when I teach, I just perform. Like if it's a master class, I just perform my solo show, but people ask questions, and that's it. That's enough.
And so you're able to do something that gives you energy as opposed to something that maybe is draining of energy.
Yeah, I'm doing. Look, I play with a lot of people, and slowly just put it aside, but you still have to dare and be a little bit brave in sense of giving up on some more paying gigs or whatever, just to take your stuff forward. And I believe that eventually it pays off. And doing something that you love is far greater and it's much better than playing. I don't know. For me, again, I'm a soloist. I like to do my own stuff. If you want to be a drummer for a specific band or play in productions, that's your thing. Amazing. So do that. But know what you want and go for it. Full power. So,
and I think recognizing that you want to do your own thing, that you don't want to play someone else's music necessarily. I mean, it sounds like you do some of that, but that's a big thing to know that and then set out to do that.
Yeah, just know what you want. First thing. Yeah. So for me, I'm working around the clock about that, creating a reality where I do what I like. And one of the biggest projects I had was to actually produce this thing, because I did it back in the day as an instrument that I needed when I play the solo stuff for like the Senegalese drumming. I added this because they play like with their sticks on the side of the drum. Mm-hmm. Like there's a part like a clave they play, and I wanted somehow to imitate that, like the massive high pitched high frequency things. So that was that. It's not to play like a metronome. It's not to play quarter notes. Mm-hmm. And it had some different functions in what I play. But then I got a lot of people asking about it. So finally, during COVID, I had the time to make it a product and make it safe, because that's a tin can.
Yeah.
With 70 holes in it. So making 70 clean holes that doesn't scratch you or hurt you, that was a big challenge. Uh-huh. And a lot of people don't understand why it costs how it costs, but I actually prepare each one of these myself for now, and this is what I did in the last year. So
yeah. And so doing something like that when you're focusing on what you want to be doing, and then selling those enables you to do more of what you want to be doing. It sounds like.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, I guess if you want to be making those.
I'm doing, yeah, of course. I decided to give up on the idea that it's only mine, because that served me for a while, but I decided I want to give it as an option for other musicians to use the sound of it, because I think it's very inspiring, and I wanted to keep it for myself for several years, but I decided to, give the option. And again, it's about, if someone really wants it, they can have it now. So that's I'm happy I can contribute that. Yeah.
And if someone wants it, they can go to your website and get it. They can order it there.
Exactly. Yeah. And another thing I did, I just finished releasing my album, so I was very focused on that, video clips and stuff. And you mentioned the Goni, so Goni, Jelly Goni from Mali, or Khalam from Senegal. That's the same instrument, different names. Mm. That's I can show it as well. 1 second. So here it is. Uh-huh. Beautiful looped string instrument from West Africa. Yeah.
I've seen Basu Koyate and Goni Ba.
Exactly.
A while back.
So Basaku is my main influence, and actually his personal manager, Norbert Hausen, who's a German guy, he's one of my best friends today. He's married to a Senegalese woman, and I actually got to know him through recordings I did for my album. I searched for very well-known singers, female singers from Mali, and every time I tried to reach them, I reached him. He's just working with everybody there. So we became friends around that, and then I realized he's the personal manager of Basaku, and he's also married to a Senegalese woman. It all came about, pretty crazy story, and so that album is about the melodies I compose on the Khalam, Jalingoni, for years, and I recorded Doudou, Ndiaye was on that, and 3 other singers. And finally, I finished the album 3 years ago, but finally I released it this year, and that was, that was my year actually. The album, the shake hats, samples, busy year. So now I'm relaxing a little bit, but yeah. Actually, and no practice. You can see I didn't mention any practicing there, because I don't really practice my drums anymore. Not because I don't want, it's just because I prefer to do that on stage. I mean, I prefer the ceremony. It became like a ceremony for me, not like a performance. I go up on stage, and playing alone releases some chemicals in your brain that playing with people doesn't. And that's like a more of a spiritual thing for me. So when I do that, I practice performing while performing, and not.
Well, and you obviously have done it enough that you can do that. I mean, you have spent enough time by yourself.
The point is that, but why is it okay? Because I'm not searching at the moment new things. I'm deepening stuff I already know. So again, it's like it's how Senegalese music works. You have the basic rhythms, which I already know how to play, and then I improvise on top, and the improvisation happens on stage. And then if I want to make a leap, like really make another big step, I would practice, of course. But now I'm enjoying just the carrying of the drums every day. It's very heavy and lots of drums. I'm just like focusing on the ritual around the playing in front of people. Doesn't matter the amount of crowd, but just the situation itself brings something that playing at home doesn't. So that's the.
In Israel, are things opening back up? Are you able to perform now?
Well, actually, it's funny. I think we vaccinated here very quick. So we were the first to open up everything, but now everything is closing because I don't know, it doesn't work anymore. I don't know. I'm not following that much, but I see that restrictions are coming back.
The variant.
It's like, that's like rhythm. This is what Ephraim says. It's always upbeat and downbeat. A frequency is always a waveform, so same here. Everything opens up, everything closes. It's life.
And so were you getting out there and playing before things were closing down again?
I had some solo shows. I released the album just before everything started to close again. It's not closed fully, but now restrictions coming back. I had some shows easily, not without worrying. But now I'm accepting whatever comes.
And so what are you excited about working on?
Actually, now creating samples with percussion, and I think a few thousands of these, because each pack is around 100, 200.
And so you have sounds there, but then you also have loops as well.
Exactly, these are loops mostly.
Okay.
One shots and loops, but I'm more into the loops, and that's a really interesting thing that I was doing that first. I'm doing that for 2 years now, but I have a method of how to do that and enjoy it. And actually what happened is that I studied so much about recording and producing my percussion. So I did that from every angle possible, adding effects, making it clean, whatever. So now I'm excited to take all that knowledge and create a new album, which brings out all the experience I have now in producing my drums and using the compositions I have with my khalam, and having again guests, singers. So I'm gonna arrange my room here soon to be more creative. I don't know, hang some works of art of my twin sister and put some plants and stuff. I want to create like this environment for creating a new album, everything closing down. So I'm just gonna sit here and create my new album hopefully pretty quick, and not do it for years now, but just maybe in a few months. That's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I saw on your website you have a blog about recording the drums. So do you do all of the engineering, all the technical side of recording yourself as well?
Yeah. Again, samples. If you record 1,000 samples, 2,000, 3,000 samples, eventually you get it. But today it's so
I'm sure
simple.
you've got mic placement. You've been practicing mic placement for.
I feel the mic. I don't even have. Yeah, and I know my drums. I know the spot. It's the same spot. I don't go to a recording studio. I just open. I have 2 mics here. I have my sound card. Preamp. I have analog tape delay, like a Space Echo of Roland RE21 to 201, which is, I don't have lots of gear, but I have what I have, and I learn how to use it. And I think eventually I have maybe I'm fortunate to play music that sometimes low quality, lo-fi does good with it, So
yeah,
even recording with your iPhone, some of the stuff, and it works. So it doesn't have to be high end. I'm working with, eventually I take the music, not the samples, but when I record music, songs and stuff, I take it eventually to a friend who recently won the Emmy Awards for one of his plugins, actually, the technology Emmy Award. And I'm working with him. So I'm in good hands for the mixing part and the mastering part. So this is how I work about new music.
Yeah, nice. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you, Cliff. Thank you.
I don't know how many thousands of miles between us, but that's one of the bright spots for the pandemic for me, is just being able to connect with people from afar. And like I said, I've for years been studying West African music. I in 2005 was in Ghana, traveling around the different regions, studying, and then went to Guinea in 2008 to study with Mamadi Keita. And
so you play Ghanaian drums. So do you have some?
I do. I have some Ewe drums and some pan logos, but I haven't really been doing that so much. More for the last 10 years, I've been focusing more on Guinean and Malian music that I've learned from my teachers. But like you're saying, at some point I realized that it's for me to try to, I'm never going to be as good as my teachers, and so more, if I can take what I've learned and do something with that, then that's more the path that feels right for me. So I'm just kind of taking my background and my different experiences and just creating some of my own things. So I still love
it. That's because I believe that this is the essence of music, and not. I mean, okay, it's okay. So I saw some Europeans playing in the Gambia. I was shocked how they sound like Africans. That's cool. That's okay. That's amazing even. But when we do something else with it, like a variant on the rhythm, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it takes the music somewhere else. And I mean, there are great cover, like here in Nashville. There's amazing musicians. There's some great cover bands, but then there's also people who are doing their own thing. Well, I really appreciate you just sharing about what you do, and I appreciate folks for tuning in. I will. This will be archived and it'll be on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube as well. And so I will let you know when it's on there. I've been so over the course of the pandemic, I did over 50 of these with some people who I've looked up to for a really long time. And then I've kind of been doing it more like I was kind of doing it like it was my job, even though it's not my job. And now I'm kind of doing them as they come. So I'm now talking to some people about the next ones, but I'm not like scheduling them every week like I was. But anyway, I really appreciate you chatting with me, Clif Chats. And
thank you for inviting me. I had a really great time.
Oh, absolutely. And people go to Ben Aylon. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, it's okay.
His website, BENAYLON .com. And thank you for tuning in.